This is grade 8, I.3, finding the constant of variation with word problems. So in this case, what we're going to be doing is using this formula again, over here, the change in y divided by the change in x, and that's going to help us figure out how many per week. So in this case, this per whatever this is, that's going to be what's on the bottom. So in this case, we have quizzes per week. So the number of quizzes will be our y, the weeks will be our x. If we look at this next one, she's baking cookies with flour. So how many cookies can be made with 1 scoop of flour? So this is like saying how many cookies per scoop of flour. On the bottom, she's earning a total of $17 for 2 hours of walking dogs. How much money does Emily earn per hour? So again, this is going to be money per hour. So going back to this first question, we have quizzes per week. So quizzes will be our y. So we have to say, well, how many quizzes do we have? Well, she took 16 quizzes over the course of 4 weeks. And then after school vacation, she took 28 quizzes over the span of 7 weeks. So she took, again, this is our second one. So this is, again, we on our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is really a slope problem, but in word form. So y2, in this case, this is the second y, so 28, minus y1, so the initial 16, over, well, 7 weeks it took for these first 28 and 4 for these last. So in this case, we have 28 minus 16, just 12, and 7 minus 4 is 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 quizzes per week. So 4 quizzes per week. So again, these are like the 2 points, 4, 16, and 7, 28. If we want to graph these, that would be the xy coordinates. All right, let's look at this next one. Very similar. She makes 36 cookies with 6 scoops, and then another day she makes 42 more cookies with 7 scoops of flour. So she has 42, that's our y sub 2, because again, cookies are on top. 42 cookies minus 36 cookies, that's the change in y. Over, well, she made 7 with the 42 and 6 here. So this is a nice one because 7 minus 6 is just 1. So it's already in 1 scoop of flour. And 42 minus 36 is 6. So she makes 6 cookies with 1 scoop of flour. Again, this is the end, the final value minus the initial, final value minus the initial, just like we did in the other section. All right, and lastly, this is money per hour, dollars per hour. So she earns $17 for 2 hours of walking. And then later in the year, she earned $17.68 for 2.08 hours. So again, we take our final value minus our initial value. And we take our final time minus our initial time. So in this case, 17.68 minus 17 is 0.68 divided by 0.08, because 2 minus 2. So in this case, 8 doesn't go evenly in here. So we're going to use a little trick. We're going to ignore all of our decimals, and we're going to just do some division. 8 goes into 68, and it doesn't go in evenly, so I'll throw some extra zeros. Because again, we're looking at money per hour. So 8 goes in 68 8 times with 4 left over. 8 goes into 40 5 times with 0 left over and 0. So here it is, $8.50 per hour. $8.50 per hour. And this division one, I will make a video as well, teaching you a fast way to do the division, so to help you remember that. So again, we take our end value, our final value minus the initial value, in this case our final y minus the initial y, and divide it by the final x minus the initial x. And that's again, a formula for the slope of a line, but these aren't word problems, so that's a little different. All right, I've got a few more examples, so let's forge ahead. All right, so in this one, she has the number of plants in her backyard is related to the number of seed packets she purchases. So we now have, they give us this x here, which is nice, and they tell us this is the y. Great, so now we just have to plug it into our formula. So our formula again is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So in this case, this is my initial and this is my final, so it would be 36, right? That's y sub 2 minus 20 over 9 minus 5. So 36 minus 20 is 16, 9 minus 5 is 4, 16 over 4, you divide that, is just 4. So she can grow 4 plants per 1 seed packet. So again, we got plants over seeds. And that's again our y over our x. This is the formula that you're going to use for all of these. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, the cost of her birthday party depends on the number of guests. That makes perfect sense. By now you should have this one memorized. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1. I don't know why those y's are so long. And x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we have 2448 minus 576 all over 17 minus 4. So 17 minus 4, you can do 13. So this one's a little bit harder. So I know that if I add 19 here, that gets into 2476. So that's too much. I know it's going to be 18. I'd have to get 24 here to get up to 6. So 24 and 48 is 1872. So that's the first thing. Now we want to divide this. A couple different ways. The way I would do this would be to ignore our decimals. I know it's going to be 1 and a half, give or take, because 13 goes into 18 once with about 5 or 6 left over. So 13 goes into 18 once with 5 left over. And 13 goes into 57 4 times with 5 left over, and it goes into 52 exactly 4 times with none left over. So in this case, I said it was going to be about $1.50, so I know my decimal has to go right there. So again, check out the video for doing the short division. But I know 13 goes in 18 once with about $5 left over, so that's how I knew it would be about $1.50. So in this case, the cost per guess is $1.44. All right, so we'll look at the next one. Okay, so we've got the distance Anne runs depending on the number of track practice she attends. So again, we've got miles per practice. So we have, again, y over x. So rounding to the nearest hundredth, that's a clue. It means it's not going to work out evenly, probably. So we say 11.8 minus 5.9, because again, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we divide then 6 minus 3. We get 5.9 over 3. So I will ignore my decimals. I know this is about almost 2. So 3 goes into 5 once, 2 left over. 3 goes into 29, 9 times with 0, 0, with 2 left over. 3 goes into 20. 6 times with 2 left over, 6 times with 2 left over. So I know this is going to keep repeating. Once it's to the nearest hundredth, I know it goes in about 2 times, so it's got to be right here. So 1.97 miles per practice. Again, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and then just divide. And that's going to be your miles per practice. Again, and so that's what's called the constant of variation, this 1.97 miles per practice, because it's changing with each mile that same amount. All right, next one. So Logan earns some money. We got some fancy looking numbers here. So again, we have y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So y sub 2 is this end one, so we have 1932 minus 1680 over 2.3 minus 2. So again, change in y over the change in x. So this is, if I add $3 here, that's too much, so I know it'll be $2. That's 1880. I need 20 more cents and 52 cents. So I'm doing reverse addition to get up to 1932. And 2.3 minus 2 is 0.3. So let's see, we want to say 252 divided by 3. So again, I'm going to ignore all these decimals and we'll deal with that later. 3 goes into 25, 8 times with 1 left over. 3 goes into 12, 4 times. So now, we got to figure out how much money he makes per hour. Well, if I were to move these both over 1, that's like 25 divided by 3, which is somewhere in the $8 range. So I know this has got to be $8.40 if I estimate. So $8.40 per hour. So again, I ignore the decimals, I do the short division, and then I put the decimals back in based on an estimation. And I'll make some videos and have some videos there you can check out to see how that works as well if you want some extra help. That's it. That's the constant variation. It all comes back down to this formula, otherwise known as the slope.